So to give context for this, Nitroff is the one who discovered dead body proxies in 2013 while he was TASing 117%. Shortly after, during the 117 TAS, he found animation proxies as well. Squeeze proxies have been known pretty much as long as the game's been out. And so there won't really be proxies in this game. Swim and air has been known, that's an iconic glitch. Routing's different, eggs will be different. So I'm just going to comment on things as I see them. I'll pause things as I see them. So thank you so much, by the way, Skrillex, for donating 5 more subs. That's awesome of you. Really appreciate that. And an extra. Fake TAS. Alright, here we go. Let me know if you guys can hear it alright, by the way. I don't know how loud it is compared to my voice, but I can adjust it really easily. This is better, by the way, just as a first impression. 5516 is better than I thought it was going to be, because this is using emulator loads. Probably not as bad as like PS1 loads, but emulator loads and TAS timing. TAS starts from console reset. So at the time that this was made, 100 eggs, you needed that. There was no any percent until 2013 when Tuval found the skip into Sorceress. It had been theorized before Tuval found it, but never done. And by many thought to be a theory that was not going to pan out. And so this is any percent for the game, any percent. So if you see my 100 egg runs, we can do a direct comparison of a lot of this stuff. So I do a jump to the left-hand side here. This is a little bit slower. Guess the jump just hadn't been found. Wall gliding wasn't as used back then. Magic stairs obviously were. Oh, right here. This is interesting. Very subtle optimization that sometimes... how do I go back by frames? There you go. So when I jump onto the stair, I always jump on so that the right side of this yellow tree over here is visible. And that's because otherwise, as you see right now, Spyro gets onto the platform and the camera pans slowly. And Bianca won't actually spawn in until the camera has panned all the way to the right side of that tree. And so it's just time loss. That wasn't known until 2015 or 2014. Very subtle time save that happens in runs. So usually you see a 2 proxy route, 2 dead body proxies that I usually go for. They have no proxies and therefore no way to get to Miles unintendedly. It's so strange to just see somebody go through and not try to proxy. Very strange. There is a cool strat that they might go for, and if they don't go for it, then I'll point out what it is. Yeah, this is why proxy saves so much time, by the way. This is the detour for getting Miles. Still a fast egg, but you're losing, like, I don't even know, 20 seconds to not going for the proxy. I hope that they go for this out of bounds. I don't know if it was known at the time. It was known at least at the beginning of 2014. Yeah, they are. Okay. So this was the no proxy route. Kind of a cool thing right here. So this jump is ridiculously difficult. I've done it before. It's perfect mechanics, frame perfect hover, perfect line. That's how you get this jump. There's also a secondary jump that if you watch the AGDQ version of AGDQ race between Toto and Saboom, 2014, Saboom goes for it, I think. Proxyless route where you go to the right side at this jump up the whirlwind instead, and there's a you jump through the roof texture of the archway and then straight into the end of level room. This one's slightly faster, or significantly even, maybe 5 seconds faster. But this jump is hard.
Thank you for rescuing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that jump is so difficult. if I were to give context, like I'm very good at Spyro 3. If I were to go in and attempt that jump, just trying to get it, it would take me, on average, probably like 10 minutes to get once. Maybe 5 minutes if I'm playing really well, I guess. Yeah, but although it's not even playing well, it's just our hand RNG at that point. Good mechanics, good line, no stutter jump, good hover. But yeah, it would take a good amount of, like a decent amount of attempts for me to get it once. So this is cool. So the date on this task, 2012 or whatever it is, Waterfall Swim was known. Waterfall Swim didn't get implemented to RTA runs until 2017. And that to me just blows me. 5 years of being considered TAS only. And now if you look at it, like I go for it in pretty much every run that I do, regardless of category. And my consistency is around 50% on good days, and usually at least 30 to 40%. The value of having a very visual setup. But Waterfall Swim was known, has been known a long time, and just was considered too RTA unviable for a very long time. When I first put it in, it was 2017, and I was doing my final grind of any percent, and it saves like 12 seconds in any percent, so it seemed necessary, even though it wasn't worth it at the time in terms of consistency.
Thanks again, Spyro. Hiya, Sheila.
Sheila's a pretty boring level, but there are going to be a couple things that I can point out, I think. Oh, here's a good one, first of all. Thieves was a fast egg, but the money bag skip for Thieves was not known. And so 300 gems were required. And because 300 gems were required before Molten Crater, there was quite a lot of gem collecting that had to be done in this level. There are two relevant things to 100 egg now that I can show you. One of those is, if we go back a little bit, usually you'll see me hesitate on this platform right here. And that's because there was this problem that we had until 2015 or 16 of slow Billy or fast Billy, where occasionally Billy took like 3 or 4 seconds longer to go up to his hut. Billy is the goat. And I did some testing after I kind of disentangled all the checkpoint system with Sergeant Bird. And there was a similar checkpoint that was not known at the time for Billy. And it's just, if you're too fast, you pass the checkpoint, he gets lost, he doesn't realize where you are, and he doesn't recollect himself until you kick the pickaxe Rhinoc, and the pickaxe Rhinoc despawns. And so to avoid slow Billy, I hesitate on this platform so he definitely sees me, and then I continue through, and he gets the checkpoint sooner. When we were doing the Spyro 300% task, Lapogne found that there, because occasionally you would get like a really fast Rhinoc in Spyro 300%, the very last Rhinoc that you would do. And Lapogne found that right about now, that Rhinoc spawns randomly in one of the 4 mushroom huts, and if it spawns in the right mushroom hut, the farthest one to the left side, then you get the fast Rhinoc, and if it spawns in any of the other ones, you get the slow Rhinoc. And so it's already spawned in the level now, and just an optimization for Spyro 300% and 400 egg that probably isn't used intentionally if it's used at all here. But yeah, so 300 gem route. 300 gems is quite a lot, actually.
Hey, Sheila.
I imagine there's going to be a lot of gem collecting in this final room, just because you have the what's his name? Bobby, the end of level character. He's walking to the end, so you have time to do stuff for free. Plus, these are high value gems that are popping out of the mushrooms. There's an interesting gem. It's the green gem as he turns right there. There are 2 green gems. I forget which one it is, to be honest. I think it's the one to the right-hand side of the screen. That one, the gems fall randomly. Like, they don't fall in the same spot every time. And that one can fall off the edge and automatically collect for you. And so I suppose, first of all, the task should have done that. But second of all, when I was doing minimum completion runs, that was so frustrating because as soon as that gem's collected, I have to reset because I can skip that gem, so it's not part of minimum completion, but it is literally totally random.
Thanks for the help.
So because animation proxies hadn't been found, um, winged Rannoch proxy won't be gone for. In a 100 egg task now, Sun Seeds wouldn't be done, and a winged Rannoch proxy would be used immediately to get into bell towers without speaking to the end of level NPC first. I would imagine that here, yeah, they're going to go into Sun Seeds and do that challenge. This is the worst egg that's currently in the 100 egg route, and in a TAS it wouldn't even be close anymore. This egg is a 52-second detour, and that's not good. There are probably in a TAS setting like 5 or 6 eggs that are faster. Maybe more, to be honest. No, not even close to half. You've missed maybe 7, 8 minutes of the task.
Now that's what I...
Privated? It shouldn't be, no. Maybe it's just hard to find.
Oh, you acted...
Okay, right here, there's something that Nitroff found while we were doing the Spire 3% task, where if you flick Flame on the transition between text boxes, and then skip the cutscene still, then Fluffy gets hit. You'll see me do it in 68 runs, actually. You've probably seen it a few times today unknowingly. Fluffy gets hit, and when Fluffy gets hit, if you skip the cutscene correctly anyway, then you get movement like 2.5 seconds faster. So the task didn't do that, it instead does that. Interestingly as well, is jumping actually loses an additional half second on top of the 2.5 seconds. So that was just not good text for swag. In bell towers, if you watch the 117 task, you can see that there's a doubled up egg. Like you get the thief, collect the thief egg, and then the bell towers challenge is ending. And then you talk to the bell towers guy, and he gives you the egg. I don't think this will use that. Nice Superfly movement though, this looks nice. So yeah, you can hit the thief before the cutscene, and then save a little bit of time because you won't have to go collect the thief. Looks like the thief is in a weird spot. It's weird, I think it's usually a little farther left, or maybe I have a different camera usually, but same attack at least on the thief. Oh, this is really cool. I think I've said things are cool, but I haven't watched this in so long. I think Saboom was the one that found this. There's a mechanic inside of areas where you exit an area portal and you retain some amount of momentum from whatever you were doing when you exited. So, for example, if Spyro's charging, you pause while he's charging and you exit, then there's going to be a little bit of charging momentum as you exit. And so what we do now is we jump for at least 1 frame, and then we pause. And then we get that little bit of upward momentum as we exit, and it allows us to get into the upper area sooner. So he falls all the way down, this Tasser, or who I think Crash Numbers and a collaborator. Falls all the way down, but it's as simple as just jumping for 1 frame before you pause, and you can make it all the way up. That's all it takes. No, I think the only issue comes up at Sorceress. So yeah, pretty much this entire detour up this whirlwind could have been avoided with the momentum conservation coming out of area portals. The most obvious instance where we use it is bell towers, because it's very useful, very impactful for routing, but we also use it like, oh, that's cool, I've seen that before. We also use it like coming out of water tunnel and seashell shore. We make sure that we're charging, that way we get more forward momentum coming out. Yeah, that was a clever optimization. I had seen the out of bounds there before, but I hadn't thought of any application. So Spyro waiting right here before he gets this 5 and the 10 gem, it's so that Hunter recognizes that he's on the third platform. If you went too far into the cave, Hunter would stick on the second platform until you came back to it. So that's why there's a wait before those 15 gems.
Oh,
Whirlwind bypass from an air also was not known at this point.
at last.
That was something actually that I found in 2014. I'm curious about the ordering right here of doing the head bash egg after Molten Crater. I haven't seen that before, other than when I watched this like 5 years ago. I know that there's going to be an interesting strat that they go for that is not worth it, specifically timed to not be worth it, but it looks cool, and that may play into why they routed it this way. Actually, do they go for this strat? I'm going to be as surprised with what they go for here as you, I think. So, for this egg, the game over abuse strat was not known, nor were the egg death abuses. The first egg death abuse that was found to be faster was this egg, and it was found by Grant as a backup so that you could attempt to bore proxy twice, and coincidentally it actually just ends up being the faster route, saves like a second. And so we don't even attempt bore proxy twice anymore, we just go straight for the death abuse. And then it works its way into the game over abuse route. It's a weird way to have skipped the Zoe. This whole platform you talk to Zoe on, but there are parts of it like not with damage. And this makes me think though actually that I'm right that they're going to go for a zombie at the end of this. There's no other reason to take damage there because the other skip's really easy and probably was known. Yeah, surely they'll go for a zombie then.
Here, take this.
So like I mentioned, we go for an animation proxy off the boar. That was not known, and without that you don't have a skip into the Thieves Challenge. So Moneybags actually does have to be paid in this run. And that didn't really change over until like midway through 2014. Boar was found in August of 2014 by Grant on accident and then replicated and found by Tuval. And people didn't start going for it immediately. It was considered a little bit too difficult at first. To be fair to the players, we went for a different strat that involved a charge jump flop instead of a glide and a different setup. And so it was more difficult, but saves a bunch of time. Quick Yellow Thief wasn't found until 2015 or 2014. Can't remember when. Quick Red Thief probably as well. The Quick Thieves are just done by delaying when the thief runs away, by going to the edge of the supercharged track on like hugging this mossy wall, and then you can get a Quick Thief that way. Save like a second or two on each of those. So yeah, zombie here. I don't think that they got the egg after seashell, did they? I might have just not thought about it while they were doing it. I guess they must have already. I can't imagine what they would do. No, they haven't. This jump is really difficult, by the way, and very unrewarding. Or I guess unrelenting if you miss it. I'm not looking for that word, but it's close enough. Very unforgiving. There you go. If you miss it, the run's over. You soft lock basically. You're just stuck because zombie doesn't have water. But I'm very interested by the choice to not collect the egg in the water right there. That doesn't make any routing sense to me. I guess I'll see the concept that they have, but I think that you get the seashell teleport afterward.
Yay!
So they'd have to backtrack. It makes a lot more sense just to collect it before Molten Crater. Yeah, you'd have to reboot the console to reset. But anyway, they're in zombie and they spawn underwater, so in the same way that we can get like skips out of Lost Fleet, they have swim and air right now. So there are issues with swim and air right now, with zombie right now, in that if you do the Sandcastles challenge, you won't be able to pause out, so it's going to be a huge detour to get out of it. If you do the wind tunnel challenge, the water tunnel, there's only one way to get out of it without getting trapped at the end. You have to backtrack through the entire thing, and that wasn't known, and that's to you destroy a mine at the very end after you beat the challenge. Still a detour, but other than that, the only way is to either death abuse or the end of level cutscene, like the little teleport, that clears zombie as well. So the reason why this routing looks a little strange, like you would think, why not just go into Sheila? Sheila's closer and on the way. It's to get rid of zombie at a different time. So zombie was just cleared. So now you can pause out.
Oh, I forgot. We had a dragon. The tunnel is chock full of Rhinox and floating mines. The only way to retrieve that egg is to defeat every single Rhinox in the tunnel.
Alright, so in terms of what wasn't optimized, this challenge kind of appears to be an auto-scroller where you swim through, you're not controlling the speed of the swim, but cutting the corners tight actually does save a marginal amount of time. So there has been some time loss in this challenge, just from lack of knowledge about the challenge. And like I mentioned in Cloud Spires, normally you'll see me charge first before I pause out here, and that's to get forward momentum coming out. So he's going to kill an octopus right here, or I guess not. Well anyway, his forward momentum was incorrect. They did not do Bluto. Bluto is a relatively slow egg, but faster than some of the eggs that he's doing. You can do a walk lock if you turn the camera and press R1 or L1 as you collect the egg. Oh, they didn't even do sandcastles. That's crazy. It's very interesting to me. No Bluto, no sandcastles. Sandcastles was, until we took it out in 2018, it was the slowest egg in the run. It was a 54.5-second detour. But I can't imagine in 2012 what it'll do instead. I actually don't know. Maybe smash to the mountaintop or moles. Oh yeah, so I don't understand this routing then. I guess it's fine. It's not that much of a detour, but I think... Well, that's interesting actually. It's not so bad. I'll be honest, I haven't timed that idea before in terms of the zombie route. I've always timed doing that egg right before Molten, which I think is better, but that's not so bad. Perfect Boxing 2 could be it, you're right.
When I heard the sorcerer...
Pretty standard buzz strats. Not overall, though. Especially not if you have to do Bluto, which relies on taking damage. Yeah, very standard buzz. So in terms of routing opportunities in Midday Gardens, the bridge swim route for sure was not found at this point, and so my guess is they'll go for the swim area to power up at some point. I don't know when though. Also, it wasn't as common to end on Icy Peak as it is now. It makes a lot of sense because Icy Peak is the most remote and you want to teleport away from it, but it's very possible they do Icy Peak first, because I see that a lot in old runs. I'd get a kick out of them doing the Pots challenge not with swim and air. That'd be kind of cool.
Okay, dragon.
Yeah, it looks like Icy Peak first. So this is just a slow route. Icy Peak's way too remote to want to have anything except for last. Ice Wall Skip, I think, wasn't found at this point. I think Ice Wall Skip was found in like 2014 or 15. Yeah. Icy Peak Jump, though, surely, right? Yeah. Icy Peak Jump was actually, when I was younger, I thought for some reason, don't ask me why, I saw these stairs and I didn't see a way to get to them other than Icy Peak Jump. And so I thought the intended way to get to those stairs was Icy Peak Jump, and I spent a couple hours trying to do it, and I eventually did get it when I was like 6. Um, I don't know why I just didn't go through the level farther. I had this like thing about completion where I would always want to do what's right in front of me. I didn't like having to wait, and if I did have to wait, I'd like write it down. I'd be like, all right, stairs that are visible at the beginning. That way I wouldn't forget. It was like the only spiral glitch that I did when I was younger. I also unintentionally crashed the game in a Haunted Tomb. I thought it was my laser on my PS2. Had my dad even send in the laser to get it fixed. So, Dom Dom ZBM was the one who found the flame charge strat that I use on this Red Thief now. Found it about 6 years ago, I think. And I'm guessing one thing won't be used on this Yellow Thief, and that's... yeah. So if you notice right here, it seems like a really slow teleport. At least maybe it does. It seems like one to me. And that's because if you are in a flopping animation, you actually get the teleports faster. You get them immediately if you're flopping, and it's on a timer if you're not flopping. And so by standing still, you lose about a half a second by the teleport. Hey Eva, how are you? Cool stairs.
Oh, by the way,
I'm not sure if the wall glide flop up into, I mean, so in terms of strats that I know aren't known, on the left-hand side, the cannon jump that you use as a backup for the wall glide flop, like if you're not doing that route, that was not known until 2015 or 16. The wall glide flop up onto this pillar with the whirlwind, the frozen whirlwind, I don't think that was known, but I do think a like tolerably fast alternative was known. So we'll see if that happens. I'm not sure. No, it won't. Okay, cool. I think Solar Bowler found it like maybe 2013 then. There's like a spin hover jump you can do over next to the butterfly jar. So he has to go all the way around. It's so strange to see some of these runs where they're doing like reroutes that are intended collections, and it just seems so foreign to me to see the intended way done. Because so many hundreds of times I just haven't done it. One mechanic that he clearly knows, or they clearly know, if you saw them slide on the ice in after they got Mingus, there's a small slide here as well. If you slide neutrally on the ice, it's faster than like skating on the ice for a certain period of time. And so that's good mechanical knowledge there for 2012, to be honest. I wouldn't have expected it. Quick Thief here, that's cool. That Thief has changed order a few times then, because for a while we got it after Sergeant Bird, and now we get it, or I get it, after Enchanted Towers. All Quick Thieves. Gator Proxy is a dead body proxy, therefore was not known. I don't know what this route's going to look like, other than probably pretty vanilla. Oh, okay. Sleepyhead. That's one of the eggs. That makes sense. So this egg used to be done as an alternative for Tanks 2, if Tanks 2 was viewed as too difficult by runners. It's a decent egg. It's not incredible, but in terms of eggs that can be replaced, it's not the worst. I think it's like a 10 or 15 second time loss. I like the swag though. I like that at least. Right here, going in the piranha pit, but having the piranhas not recognize Spyros there. Swag in TAS is a necessity if you have extra time. You have to do it. Nitroff, I think, is the best at doing that. This is an interesting strat. Small optimization. Charge jump gliding here. You collect the egg before you teleport to the egg. You start collecting it and it saves like a half second. If you miss it and you go into the water instead, I think you soft lock. I think that's something I heard before. I've never actually had Sleepyhead in my route, so I don't know the specifics.
You are brave.
It's strange how convenient proxies are too. Like it really is, oh, you want a direct line to something? Well, just look for any enemy and you could probably proxy off it. And saying this, like there are so many large detours that have to be done if you don't have access to proxies. It's kind of jarring actually, very interesting to me though. Oh, you know what? Let me pause this just for a moment so I can take the manual delay off my mic. I realize right now there's mic because it's my capture card delay. Okay. Should be a little more live now. Ah, so cool. Yeah, this swim in air. You can do this with a charge jump flop instead of a spin jump. And actually, this is one of the things that I tested with TAS when we were doing the Spire 3% TAS. If you are absolutely perfect, you can charge this water instead of head bashing the water. But it's very, very tight. Would not even dream of doing it RTA. This is a nostalgic Midday Gardens route, not the Icy Peak first part, but all of this pots to Sergeant Bird with that swim in air. That's what used to be done until the Bridgestone route was found. Yeah, Matt 13, Midlife Crisis.
I have to train hard.
The checkpoint system for Sergeant Bird has been extremely tested out. It was not even close to tested out at this point. This movement actually looks so bad. No offense, I mean it was 2012. There is a foundational movement tech that is not being used right now that I have never actually seen somebody that speedruns the game not use. And that's if you hold both strafe buttons at the same time, then you get free roaming strafe speed. If you're just holding X, then you get really slow, really like rotated movement with Sergeant Bird. That's difficult to control. That's what's happening here. So that's why it looks so bad and so slow, is because they're not using that technique that literally every runner probably you've ever seen play uses and moves fast with. Something interesting that I think was fortuitous rather than known right here is there's something called teleport anticipation, where if you're in front of where you will receive text in a teleport, if you're in front of that text early, then you get the text in the same way that you get the egg in Spooky Swamp and in Sleepyhead a little bit early. You get the text a little bit early. And so you save a fourth of a second on this text by standing in front of the hummingbird. If I had to guess, I would say that because you can use this twice in the level, the second time you speak to the hummingbird you can do it as well. I don't think that it will be used there. And if it is, I think that it really was a coincidence because I wasn't aware of this until 2015.
So, I've kept... Sir, the Rhinox have...
Yeah, that's strafe movement right there. So you can have that strafe speed everywhere you go. But they're only using it with one strafe button, so they don't have it free roaming. Interesting here as well. It's just swag sometimes turns out to be fortuitous. There's an extra checkpoint here that speeds the hummingbird up a little bit. Because he dilly-dallies a little bit, doesn't actually have an effect, but he collects the extra checkpoint. It's two of the enemies in this room. But he just wanted to kill enemies, I'm pretty sure. Seems like it at least. And yeah, in this final room, the only enemy that matters is the farthest plunger guy on the ground floor. So shooting the flying enemy first is actually just slow. And yeah, there you go. He didn't go for teleport anticipation here, so you can assume that he didn't know about it and just fortuitously saved a fourth of a second on the first text box. Hey, Violent Gamer. Yeah, I'm glad that you are back. Hello. So there are a couple of proxyless skips in Bamboo Terrace. One of them Nitroff found in, I think, 2014, so it wouldn't have been known. I'm trying to think what I think will happen here. Because obviously there's Bug Proxy, there's the Firework Rhinoc Proxy, those were both found 2013 and 14. The other skip that you can do to get up onto this roof by the boulder, Boulder Proxy, wasn't found at this point. I think it's just going to be a vanilla route. I can't imagine what else it would be. The skip through the boulder was viewed as a PAL-only trick at this point. This is NTSC. This is some weird diversion, by the way, diverted movement. You see these like wiggles that he's doing? Like right here, there's going to be a wiggle. Rather than just taking a straight line and then cutting it back after you don't have an obstacle. Kind of strange. Oh, so he's not even going for the bridge skip, I don't think. I think he's killing all the enemies to extend the bridge. That's really surprising to me, actually. There are two skips that I thought were well known at this point. Yeah, he is. This thief has been known about for a long time. I imagine maybe, I think there's like a 50-50 chance that he goes into Bentley here. It's a decent egg, about as good as Sleepyhead.
We would be on... Oh, the emergency...
No? Okay. Yeah, well, to be fair, this is a good time. It's a 55. That's good even by today's standards. Especially considering loads and task timing. Alright, here, Bone Dance is not fast, and the strats to do Bone Dance with Spyro weren't found. Farley don't think would be fast. Skating is certainly not fast, so I think this is just going to be straight to the egg. No death abuse strats at that point. Around the building that way is kind of cool. Don't know if it really saves much time. So teleport anticipation is also possible and faster on this enemy, or this NPC, on Jasper I think, yeah Jasper. And just a pause out there. I would have been curious to see him do really anything at all. Farley or Bone Nance.
Hey now.
Bumbling, idiotic.
It's funny, this is a total sidebar, but I remember doing races with Dactyli, and his disc, for some reason, always hung up on Spike is Born. So the most, the most pressure in his run was just whether or not the game crashed on Spike is Born. I remember he lost a bunch of, good Spire 3% runs to that. That would have been so frustrating.
Idiotic.
My tactical
Clearly some RNG manipulation on the first rock, and then they believed that the other rocks don't really matter as long as they come out in a way you can hit them. So, seems pretty well done so far to me, this spike. There are improvements, like if you watch the Spire 3% TAS, it's improved. Especially with where power-ups drop compared to Spike. But I would say for 2012, this is very well done, in my opinion. Holding on to that blue makes the timer for the second blue not as good. Makes it slower. And they kept Sergeant Bird off screen, which spawns power-ups. Oh, 1.0 versus 1.1 difference. This is being played on Spyro 1.1, so Collector's Edition or Greatest Hits. I play in 1.0. One of the most noticeable differences is where you spawn after you beat Spike. So I spawn on the edge of the arena. They spawn in the middle because they're playing 1.1. The switch to Spyro 1.0 didn't happen until 2015, I think. So my first runs were on 1.1 as well. I think all the way until I had a PS TV. So up until November 2015, I was on 1.1. Stubby early wasn't known. Clearly. I think that was something Saboon found at some point. Because if you skip the Stubby, you just clip right back in, so it does take some intention not to do that. Alright, let me think about this. No Firefly. It's got to be Noodles, Ninja HQ. I don't think that the strafe pumping, the zigzag in Agent 9 was known, and so I don't think that we'll see that, but I do think that we'll see both of those challenges nonetheless. Agent Spyro wasn't known, that's something that Grant found in 2014 or 15. But yeah, if there's no zigzag, that clearly dates the run. I haven't seen an Agent 9 section without zigzag in a long time.
It looks like you'll have...
Hey KJ. Yeah, Ninja HQ. The thing with this, though, is that this is played on NTSC, and the damage boost, while it may have been known by 2012, I don't actually know. It was thought to be PAL exclusive until 2014 or 15, at which point a NTSC setup was developed. So I don't think there'll be a damage boost here. It'll just be vanilla through the level. Yeah. That's cool how he's diverting in between shots. I don't think it would be faster than just hopping over them, but it looks cooler. That's definitely true. Oh yeah, no, it's like not even 10 total. I think it's like 7 total or something like that.
It looks like the source of the... Hey. If you see handle...
Hey, Spyro!
Hi, Agent Knight.
Yeah, no zigzag. Look how slow this is. It makes me feel better about how bad my zigzag is, because at least it's not this. This is like an ant crawling over a mountain right now. I'd feel like, honestly, if this were still the strat for Agent 9, I would feel like I was so bad at Spyro when I was playing it. Like, I'd just be like, oh, God. Actually, no, it'd be like playing Bentley pretty much, right? Just I have to actually dodge enemies. So I guess it is the strat for Bentley still. But it does feel very tediously long and monotonous right now. Oh, no, don't go in on Waffle like that. He doesn't deserve it. Faster movement strats for Bentley. They exist. Spire 300% TAS.
Thanks for rescuing.
You know what? That's fair, Fady. Zombie, I mean, it had to have been known at this point. I mean, it was known for sure, but it had to have been like in the route. I can't imagine doing Evening Link without Zombie. So I think that that probably happened at some point. Subs 1 and Subs 2 in this level are fast. I don't think that this task will go for them just because they require a lot of like planning and intention and challenge knowledge to be fast. I just don't think that there was that at this point. Like the crab hit. I forgot how slow Lost or Crazy Ed is if you don't death abuse. We used to until 2015, I think. We didn't death abuse. We just went through the level because we didn't have the enemy boost. It was only a proxy over. Anyway. Yeah, zombie there. I would expect all this to be pretty standard. Probably a death abuse after Stewart. That's what we did until 2016 or 17. I think 2017. Maybe even 18, to be honest. Might have been when Nerf and I went through and found a bunch of strats. It's nice though. Clearly, a lot of work went into this task. Um, a lot of the movement is clean. Like some choices were incorrect in terms of mechanical choices or logical choices, and I don't think that all the challenges were timed. I think some of it was based on intuition or predisposition, like I guess pre-impressions rather. Um, but it's not just like a task that you make, you know. It looks like a task that work went into, which is cool. Hi Becky, how are you? These seal cycles can be manipulated with the camera. If the seals are off camera, then the seals won't throw anything. So this cycle is a little bit bad actually. That was something that I think Grant discovered in 2014.
Another goal.
Oh, they go for the actual snowball gong. It's funny, that skip that we do, the gong hit, saves almost no time. Like, it's so similar. It looks cooler, and it does save time, and it's not that bad. There was a task walk that Nitroff found when he was doing his 117 task, where you like camera lock while you're pivoting, and you get really fast box pushes. Saves like a second or more on each one.
Thanks, bro.
Frozen Altars. The ice wall proxy might have been known at this point, so that could happen. Squeeze proxies were known in general. I just don't know if the specific one was known. Probably know by the time he melts this. Yeah, it looks like he's at the height, so we might see it squeeze proxy right here. Cool. They experienced piracy issues at the very end after they pretty much finished it. They went into Sorceress and they couldn't complete it. So it was an invalid task that could not be completed.
Ah,
So yeah, I'll be interested, like Where to Follow mentioned, Boxing 2 might be in this run.
I know you do it. Go and
Kind of
show
interested
him
in strats. Oh, this is a funny one, actually.
I
Zoe, with this round card, if you press start, she skips immediately. So this entire time where the round card is out, that is just time lost not from not pressing start.
Fat Dom Yeti. I know you do it. Go and show him not
It's like a good 2 or 3 seconds.
Remember to block his eye punches.
Not using jabs. If you're not familiar, this is like a POW strat for boxing now. But jabs don't register correctly if the Rhinox guard is up and coming down. They give like double or triple damage, can't remember what. 46 is pretty good though. I think best that Nitroff got in TAS is like a 48. I have gotten a 46 RTA once. Gotten a 45 RTA like 3 times.
You should go back and kick it. This time it'll be a 3-round match, and when you win,
Yeah, boxing
don't
2.
let him send
Where to
you
Follow
off,
was right.
stupid egg.
I'm curious about, I mean, this one might be in 100 egg task now. I'm not actually sure how much the detour is here. I don't remember what the 117 task gets for the round timer at the win. It would probably need like a 35 for it to be worth it in 100 egg task. Which, I mean, if that got a 25, maybe. Probably not though.
Hey!
With the egg order, the egg choices that this guy's making, that these TASers are making.
Thanks for helping out.
Cat hockey would be a fast egg if it was done well. If it were done well. I don't think that that's going to happen though. No. 35.90. Okay, yeah, it'd be very borderline then, KJ. It'd be one of the slowest ones if it were in the route, but it might be in the route. Oh, it looks like that was known. I didn't think that was known so early. Usually you're spat out of the whale, and you're spat in a specific direction. And don't have control immediately, but if you hold X while coming out of the whale, you gain control immediately. And to me, it looks like that happened. Wasn't expecting that optimization to be known at this point. I don't know, honestly, KJ. I'd have to think about it a lot, but I'm pretty sure we'd do like 4 or 5 eggs differently at the very least. I mean, you have the Age of 9 challenges, like Take It to the Bank and Dino Mines, and the one in Haunted Tomb. Those two are good. Subs 1 and Subs 2 are good. Shark Subs is good. That's already 5 eggs. I mean, we do Shark Subs, to be fair. But there are probably more than that. This is one of Tuval's more iconic discoveries that won't be done right here. He has a clip on his Twitch, if you guys go to twitch.tv/TOUVAL. I guess it would have been a highlight. But he's looking for out of bounds here to get into the tunnel early. He's like, oh, I really hope there's a non-solid wall here somewhere, and he just immediately finds it on the left side. I remember this jump, actually. I remember an alternative that I found in 2014 was the squeeze proxy between that moving pillar, the rook, and the wall. I haven't thought about that strat in like 5 years. So I'm assuming Sunseeds will be done. Surprised this wall glide's done. That's cool. We use that wall glide now. For a while we switched it out with a proxy. The Sproder makes it pretty easy. So I'm going to give some history on this challenge before they do it. Back in 2014 when I started running, we did spin jumps for I think 3 mushrooms. And we needed to use all those mushrooms. We couldn't do the skip that we do now because the skip that we do now uses a boosted jump. And that boosted jump was found by Grant in 2015, I'm pretty sure. That boosted jump wouldn't have been known here, obviously, 3 years too early. But when Nitroff was tassing this challenge in 117, this challenge 117%, when he was tassing this challenge, he reversed the use cases of flowers and mushrooms, because if you jump off a mushroom on the frame before it becomes bounceable, you can actually get a charge jump off it, like it's a flower. And if you charge into the flowers at specific times when they're being created, you can proxy off them. And so for all cases where normally you would say, oh, that's a mushroom case, Nitroff would use a flower proxy. And for all the cases where you really be like, yeah, it's a flower case, Nitroff would use the first frame charge jump off the mushroom. Kind of interesting. Now we also go for the frog proxy to skip the first mushroom. Spin jumps, I think, were known at this point, so I'm expecting spin jumps up the mushrooms. And probably pretty much exactly the strats that we did in 2014 and 15. Oh, cool. I've seen that happen to Wade on accident before, but never with any intention. That was kind of like a wall glide flop up. Interesting.
You've been
I guess it was 4 mushrooms and a flower that we used before, because this looks familiar. And that's cool, we got the 1 frame jump that I was just talking about there, instead of a bounce. This one, yeah, cool.
At last.
I remember Saboom going for this strat when he had like a 57. This flame into, you have no input on this glide after the enemy dies and the cutscene begins. So if you miss it, you just die. It's a very risky glide. Oh, we're at Scorch already. This has gone by quickly. This has been really interesting for me, actually. I don't expect to see anything that... I mean, we don't see in every single run in Scorch. Scorch is kind of one of those things. Maybe there could be some interesting swag, I guess. But, yeah, it's just get red rockets, get fireball attacks.
This might be our luck.
Okay, well, I guess not get fireball attacks. So yeah, fireball attacks, the energy attacks that come down like rain, those are faster. These ones are the fast ones. Maybe the knowledge related to RNG manipulation in Spyro wasn't as expansive. Because this, like, red rockets first, I'm sure they either got coincidentally or purposely got, but this other RNG looks like it's just random, like they didn't do any intentional manipulation. It's a fine fight, but not good.
Spyro, I know.
They did well with their magic stairs in this run. It's the second or third instance where I feel like they did really well. I think they'll use a very old version of the swim in a route for Crystal. Jumpy Luff found the Crystal Island swim that's used without the beaver proxy route. 2014 or 13. So I think they'll go for a really old swim in air off the water with the whirlwind tower.
Would you like to see a man?
Which I think loses like 10 or 15 seconds compared to the crystal swim. And then an additional like 5 to 8 seconds to beaver proxy. Now here's the strat to manipulate reds. It's if you have red splits, if you're behind, you get reds, but if you have green splits, you get greens. It's just how it works.
Here, you can have...
Yeah, that's true as well. So there are 3 slide strats known now. I think only one of them was known at the time. Turtle proxy for sure wouldn't have been known. It's a like charged out of squeeze proxy off of fodder. So that was found 2014 or 15. I think 15. Nerf found a strat where you go on the left railing and follow the left railing. And that saves like 2 to 3 seconds over what they're gonna do, I think, which is what you'll see me back up with usually if I miss turtle proxy. Which is as soon as this railing on the left side ends, they'll just go off the left side. Yeah. Wouldn't be a 2000s era platformer without a slide skate. Pretty good. We do about the same strat now to get that thief. We cut it back a little bit to the left to make it safer. So here's something interesting. So we go for the Scorpion Squeeze Proxy now, which is found by Nitroff while he was tassing. Tuval found a skip off the chin on the top right corner. You could stand on part of that chin and then skip up anyway. So he found that in 2013, I think. So a year and a half after this TAS was made. This is really old movement too. Oh, that's cool. There's some swag right there. I like how that looks. This order is surprising to me, especially if he just straight up doesn't do the Sheila challenges. Or if they don't. I would expect to jump the Sheila right there on the right side of the screen. Like if they backtrack and do Sheila, it's just slow, like slow level routing. But if they don't do Sheila, I'll be very surprised. Yeah, okay.
Hi, Spyro.
I like this side area a lot actually. Like it's superficially pretty boring as a side scroller, but for that same reason, it's fun to optimize. Hey, Staffman, how are you? Yeah, it does, Fady, to me as well. Sometimes just an intuition thing, though. You think you have the right route, and you don't. That's why it's good to be exhaustive if there's any inkling of any, like, shadow of a doubt. Oh, yeah? Well, I appreciate that. I hope I can deliver. Right now, I'm doing a commentated run on a 2012 TAS of 100 eggs, based on a sub goal that got completed. That's definitely true, KJ. There was just some stuff that was intuition, felt nice, so you guys did it. That culture kind of changed. Probably 2014 to 16, there was a shift. Thanks so much, Staffman, for subscribing. I appreciate your generosity. It's nice of you. Oh, damn. I guess that... Oh, okay. Yeah. Never mind. I was thinking he wasn't even going to go for the door skip, but the Nitroff was the one who discovered like the fast TAS door skip, and then it got implemented into RTA runs before Mummy Proxy. This makes sense now.
I see you, man.
Well, 117, that's the thing. Like, I can completely understand not routing 117. It's just so complicated and it's just a massive category to want to route. Any percent routing and 100 egg routing is a lot more clear cut, much more finite with possibilities. Yeah, definitely, KJ. So a task now would use the, when there's a door skip you can do or a beetle proxy to get into the Agent 9 area. And it's just a very fast challenge, probably saves 10 or 15 seconds over other eggs. Yeah, we still do tanks 1 and 2. It looks like this guy's not strafing much with it there. I forget if it's just crash numbers or crash numbers in a collaborator.
You may now end my.
It's not a lot of strafing here. Right side. This is blasphemous. I don't like this. It's strictly a preference thing, but it looks so weird. It's like playing the game in mirror mode. You know how they have those Mario Kart tracks where you can do a setting and just have it reversed? Especially Toad's Turnpike where like the traffic's reversed as well. That's what this is to me. If you wanted to vicariously experience that feeling.
That was in.
Yeah, right side tanks 2 is like pineapple on pizza. All of the Dynamine rerouting happens 2014. Dynamine, rather. I think that was spurned by Nitroff finding the Axel proxy, and Toto and Wed and Grant. Wed and Grant, like in a team, I think, independently coming up with the routes that we use now. Hey Hummel, how are you? It's good to see you. Oh, here's something just weird trivia about this. And I've had it happen like 3 or 4 times, so it like is something that happens in game, and I've had it happen on PS2 and I've had it happen on PSTV. If you watch my 100 egg tips, tricks, and easy routes tutorial, it happens. Killing this enemy, and I just mean literally just killing this enemy, if you go by the side of it so you don't bonk, can crash the game. That's it. You need no other circumstances. Yeah, I've noticed that too, KJ. I like to see it.
One of them dinosaurs.
Nice, through the rocks. Nitraf does that in his 117 TAS as well. The rocks have individual hitboxes, so you can go through them, obviously. That's cool. Yeah, this challenge was done well. Better than the water tunnel and seashell. They cut corners well in this challenge.
Well, jumping jaw.
You did it.
And here we are. Unfortunately, where this TAS ends. Yeah, so the ROMs didn't work as well back in the day. Nitraf had issues as well when he was TASing in 2013 with a ROM encountering piracy issues. So this TAS also did. Piracy issues going into the sorceress could not be completed. But that was a fun watch, honestly. Couple of strats and routes that I didn't expect. Some things to think about. Hadn't watched that run in probably 5 years. But I do think that it was really well done for the time. It's clear a lot of work went into it. So it's cool, kind of like as a, I feel like an archaeologist going through something. Oh yeah, top right's Blunt's video, right here. Everyone go subscribe to Blunt Bows. He's an up and coming Spyro 2 runner. I think he's gonna be pretty good.